Brandon Jennings responds back to Rory, and Joe Budden chimes in. So right now, Brandon Jennings and Rory are going to it on Twitter because Brandon Jennings tweeted out that Joe got rid of Rory and Maul, and that's why his business is doing well. Well, Rory would respond with his tweet, but here's what Brandon Jennings just said. In 2021, Rory, when I saw you in the corner, teary eyes, yes, I did come up to you and say, keep your head up. And if you wanted that gear, that was it. We never spoke on Maul or Joe. Don't do that. You was in the club looking for sympathy. You got the little attention you wanted. Relax, buddy. Now, this is in response to the Rory tweet where he said, last time I saw Brandon Jennings was at Highlight Room. He went out of his way to speak to me. That's a shot right there. He went out of his way to speak to me, to tell me how much he respected how I handled everything with Joe. He even called Joe a goofy. I said, until you and Maul settle what y'all got going on, I don't feel comfortable speaking. He also said that Brandon Jennings said something along the lines of, I respect that. And he put what he was saying on his daughter. So it was a big kerfuffle. You know, people are misremembering what happened. But Joe Budden would chime in regards to the tweet where he said that, you know, he retweeted the Brandon Jennings dissing Rory and Maul with a bunch of positive emojis, but he would later on say this. I retweeted that Brandon Jennings tweet without reading the shots, so I deleted it. I got no beef with the son of Jake. Heart emoji and peace emoji, whatever. Now, I must say, this seems like manipulative Joe. Joe is back in his bag of trying to pit Rory and Maul against each other. There is a play here. See, what Joe Budden is banking on is that Rory is sick of working with Maul, right? Maul is not as crazy as Joe, but maybe worse, he's lazy. Would you rather be crazy or would you rather be lazy? And I think Joe is probably peeping things or analyzing things, and he knows that Maul still arrives late. He knows that Maul still doesn't want to help take the Rory and Maul platform to another level, so he's planting the seeds. That's right. Maul's problems used to be Joe's back in 2021, but now those problems are Rory's. And Joe is amplifying that with people taking shots at, you know, kind of his work ethic. It's something I noticed. I think any person who makes videos, creates content, they just know how terrible it is to work with a Maul, because essentially Rory's trapped between a rock and a hard place, right? Maul, he brings a large part of the audience, probably 50%, but does he put in 50% of the work? Oh, no, he doesn't. He's really just talent, but yet he's being treated as a CEO and he's allowed to make decisions. He arrives 2 hours late based on what Julian said, and Rory's there to have to manage that. And that's what Joe Budden is doing here. He's saying, I love Rory. Rory's the best. Even though during the breakup, it was all Rory's evil white man. He tore down the Joe Budden podcast. I can't believe Maul sided with Rory. So there you have it. And I just want to read the original tweet. The original tweet that Brandon Jennings threw out there was based on someone on Twitter posting the article where Joe Budden highlighted how much he was making. And Brandon Jennings said, Joe deserved it. He got rid of Salt and Pepper. Business started booming and the cast is way better, man. That is grimy. He's saying the show is way better than it used to be. And the old fans of the show would have an issue with that. But I just wanted to tap you in. I'm going to keep this story developing and, you know, fill you in with anything else that might be going on. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know Brandon Jennings is a problematic source of information because on the Gilbert Arenas podcast, he's kind of sometimes and there was even a time where he appeared on the Joe Budden podcast and he was there for like 15 minutes and then disappeared. So it's like, what was that about? What was even that? And what is Joe Budden doing having Brandon Jennings on the podcast? This is someone who doesn't like doing interviews. And this is someone who doesn't even like doing interviews with people like Brandon Jennings, basically folks who join the podcast and don't know any type of thing about what's going on. So what is the ulterior motive? Is it simply just to embarrass Maul and kind of let Maul know, I got somebody who got your secrets, Maul? So if you try to expose me, Maul, I'm gonna do the same thing to you. Like, what secrets could Brandon Jennings and Joe have about Maul? Everything that's out there already. He slept with us in the rooms. Not slept, but you know what I mean. He slept over. He lived with us. He didn't have his own place. Maul is always called a bum by Joe. And Maul wasn't really called a bum until he started messing around with Joe. Prior to that, Maul was seen as a solid stand-up individual who comes from a certain cloth, and he's exemplifying the code of the streets. But now, after being on the pod, he's looked at as clout chasey. He's looked at as somebody who hops from rich man to man, almost like some sort of vegan vagabond. With that said, follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon. We got a lot of stuff coming there. I just dropped a few videos, and it's great value for $5. You could go back, watch the old catalog, and just take it from there. All right, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.